He said, Mike, there'll be one contingency. I said, what's that? He said, you gotta show up. I said, well, you know, George, I do understand that. But it's so similar to the dreams we have out here. Now, we all have dreams, don't we?
Yes.
What's the first thing you have to do when you have a dream? You gotta wake up. Then you need to sit up, and you need to stand up. And as you move in that direction, you know, frequently we're going to have the same family members that may come to your house to visit and not leave for a month. The ones that are there trying to advise you not to fulfill your dreams. Well, after you wake up and stand up, sometimes you just need to tell them to shut up and get out of your way. It's a proud day today for me to address briefly you, the stewards of George Fraser and Company, the stewards of his dream, his vision, that we who live in a capitalistic nation need to realize that if we lived in a socialist nation, we'd be called socialists, right? If we lived in a communist nation, we would be called what?
Communist.
Well, we live in a capitalistic nation, so therefore we are
Capitalist.
Now, you know, when we were coming up and we were wearing our afros and dashikis, capitalism used to be a bad word. Oh, that represented the slave master imposing emphasis and influence on the slaves, etc., exploitation. Well, then we continued to believe in the concept, but we were backwards in that concept, you see. Well, we have to realize that exploitation does not necessarily mean is not necessarily a bad word. It is what you do in business. You see, there are times when we have to change our mind and our thinking.
Right.
I'll give you an example. How many of you think outside the box? Raise your hand. All right, for those of you who raise your hand, I'm about to spank you. Why? Because if you lived outside the box, doesn't that presume that you are in a
Box.
And you see, the system will put you and block you and hold you back by making you think that you're in some kind of a box that requires you to do only certain things. Lisa told you right now, and Sonia both said, listen, we don't even think there's such a thing as a box. There's only the horizon. And we can pursue and prosecute our opportunities. And did those sisters walk up here with entrepreneurial, capitalistic swag or what? Congratulations. I asked you a simple question. What would your life be like if you could eliminate the fear of failure?
Come on.
You see, that's two words. Think about it for a moment. Fear and failure. Fear is nothing but a mental construct. It is not of nature. It is not the grass growing. It's not rain falling. When you were born, you were absolutely perfect. Everyone in this room is absolutely perfect. You allowed yourself to move in a direction that took you away from that perfection. Now, I suggest to you that there's no such thing as fear because it is a mental construct. Second word, failure. I say to you, there's no such thing as failure. You might say, well, Michael, what are you talking about? Well, let's think about that for a moment. Every day when you wake up, you give it 86,400 seconds. 31,589 seconds a year. And in every moment, you must live every moment to its fullest extent. Why? Because that's the only thing you have. And you're either going to use it or you're going to what? So let's enjoy the opportunity that if we experience a business or a project or even a relationship where the outcome isn't as we would have liked, is that an experience we will grow from or are you considered failure? I suggest to you it's nothing but an experience. I mean, I've had as many businesses not fulfill my objectives as I have succeeded. But I'd still consider it to be an experience, and I gain from that, and you will gain from it. You know, recently, President Barack Obama, the Secretary of Commerce, placed me on the inaugural National Council for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. There's 26 of us. There are about 4 from the White House, and people like Steve Case from AOL sits next to me, the Secretary of Commerce sits next to the other side. And there's presidents of some universities and whatnot. So when you hear the president speak about innovation and entrepreneurship, it's usually coming from our little dialogue group that sort of feeds the White House to help us begin to think about, well, what are those opportunities to create rapid or fast growth businesses so that we can have the types of commerce that we need in America to protect ourselves and our kids ahead of us to get there.
Come on.
Let me give you an example, or two, or maybe three.
Yes, yes.
Let's give the first one. Sonia talked about her innovative way of thinking in the world of the computer industry. Well, let's go back to the beginning. IBM basically invented the computers, but they slept on the concept of a system that would allow ultimately for all of us to have an operating system that would give us laptops. And then, the engines that required us to search, the Googles, even the AOLs, that was not Bill Gates, that was another team of innovators. And even today, as we hear people talk about Zuckerberg and the social networking, innovation. And each step of the way, they became billionaires, correct? Yes. That's innovation. I mean, Henry Ford did not invent the automobile. That was invented in Europe. Smith, who wrote a business plan and got a C on it. And of all things, it was about cardboard boxes. We all know what a cardboard box is. It's been around a long time. And it was only about transporting a cardboard box from one spot to the next. He graduated from college and decided he was going to pursue his dream and pursue that business plan that he only got a C on, not a C plus, by the way. That company is now called Federal Express.
Ooh.